All right. Let's get this CJM Industries Airlift P3 Cubby thing installed. So this is the cubby holder that's going to hold this guy in there, which is going to go in there. By the way, shout out to Chris at CJM, because you got to love somebody who throws some airheads in. And orange, by the way, is a good color. You get a sticker. I usually, yep, there's one on my toolbox right there. And he's got usually some really good instructions. So no surprise, good instructions. We'll see if I need them or not. I'm a dude. I'll probably just try and wing it. No, not really. I'll make sure you have the right install instructions. Yeah, let's dig into this. All right, so this is the cubby that we're going to be putting this holder into. And that, like I said, is going to hold the airlift controller. And I guess while I'm at it, I have this wire. This is for my wireless phone charger, which is this guy here. I can pull that off. It's magnetic. But right now I just have it routing sort of around the top of this. But since I am going to be putting a hole in the back of the cubby to accept the cable for the airlift controller, I will probably just run this back there with it as well. So anyway, get that out of the way. First thing I need to do, I guess, is move this back. Just going to get it back here. And yeah, emergency brakes on, turn the car off, and that gives me room to work here. So pretty easy. If it's a manual, just pull it back. On automatic, you can just pull it back into drive and just make sure your emergency brake's on. Right here, you can pull up and it will turn on. Right now, this cable runs from out of here. Actually, this is it right here. And I'm going to go ahead and run it up through the front floor. Anyway, I'm going to run it through there, up, around, and then across, and then through there. And I may as well show you guys in this video how to remove that side panel. It's not super intuitive, and I think a lot of people just skip it and tuck wires around the outside. But I'll show you how it comes apart if you're curious. All right, so probably the most awkward part is how to get this handle off. It's not super intuitive, but basically you just stick a flathead screwdriver, and then there's a little clip that you're gonna grab, and it's gonna come off, and it's really kind of hard to see, but I'll show you here. So this is the clip. It goes in here. And then basically what you're doing is you're reaching in with a screwdriver and prying it out. It won't come out all the way because of this, but all you need to do is pry it out a little bit so that it can clear this. So, all right, so back in, and then when you put it back on, you're just going to pop it in like that. So again, you're going to reach down in there. If you pull out with your hand a little bit, it'll help. And the thing will usually fly off. Anyway, so when you're done, you can put it back in place. And then you just snap that on when you're done. So under here is a little tiny cap, which just pops off, just clipped on. And then there's this guy, which is a little plastic, and it's threaded. You should be able to use the same screwdriver if you have a small enough one. This is just barely small enough. You can unthread that. There we go, I got it. So got that out. And then once you do that, this little inner piece will pop out. Yeah, and you put it back together the same way. I usually push this into there and then screw it in and then put the little cap back on. But before you can get this off, you've got to lift this up. It'll just pull up. That will free that to come out. And then same thing with this up here up top, but I find it's not as critical. You can sort of get it out like that. So by the way, these are all the wire and hoses from the Airlift kit install and some other random doodads. So now what I'll do is I'll take that USB cable and now I'll run it here. All right, I was right. They're T15s. And half the time, I don't even need like a wrench or a ratchet to get them off. I just have it on an extension here. One, and that allows me to pull this off, which then allows me to better run this up and over. So now let's move to getting this thing apart. All right, so this, let me get this out of here. This cable was just sort of like fed back in there. I'll take this off for now. All right, so I'm gonna do a couple things. Number one, we're gonna lift this up just to free it. So pull from the bottom. Mine just came right out, pulling from the bottom first. That's where the main clips are. And then after that, it should come out pretty easy. Now there's a little rubber mat in here. So there's a little tab right here. Makes it easy to grab. And then you can pull it out. And then once you've done that, you can feel this lip. You should be able to pull forward on this lip. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Just like that. And then this whole thing comes out. And right back here in the back, I have some plugs. All right, to get this off, there is this little tab right here. You're going to press that and then pull firmly, and that whole piece will come off. Cool. Now you have access to run cables. And then what we're going to do is drill a hole in the backside of this so that we can run cables out to it. All right, before I drill this and do the final install, I just wanted to show you how this is going to go in. So this is with the holder in place. I know it's kind of hard to see. And the reason I'm doing a test fit, number one, I want to make sure I was doing it right. Number two, I wanted to make sure that I could get my cable, a USB cable, back there for the Wi-Fi CarPlay adapter. So I've got a little spot right above the top, but I want you to notice that the Airlift mount will press up all the way against that USB section there and flat. The other thing to notice, you can see here on the top that it's going to press all the way against the top of the car's cubby. So you pull this out. See with it loose, see how it's not pressed against? So it's going to press fit tight back there. That's not quite there yet because I'm trying to do it with one hand. There you go. I mean, mine locks into place right there. Should be even with the front lip, but pushed back a little bit and tight against that USB portal thing. And again, when you close this, you can look up, make sure your fabric's not caught. Oh, see, there you go. That's not completely set. So I'm going to push it even further back. Now it's set into place. So that's what you're looking at for that Cubby install. Cool? All right, so what I need to do now is drill a hole so that I can get my cable through the backside. Because I have this USB CarPlay adapter, the wireless CarPlay adapter, I'm gonna, and that's gonna be resting on the bottom, I'm gonna drill the hole in this top corner back here. All right, so I've got my hole in the back. It's nice and smooth, so like I'm not worried about the wires or anything rubbing. I've got my CarPlay adapter that's going to go back there. So I'm going to go ahead and get that staged with the wire up near that corner because I'm going to need it to be up there. And then I also told you that I was going to run my car charger through there. So that will fit through the hole. And also be up there at the corner, just like that. So now with that said and done, I'm going to go ahead and remove the command tape. So this is going to push against the USB block right there. This top is going to push against the top block, and this is going to be pressed against this side. Make sure my wires are up there. And then as I push it back, I'm making sure the fabric is out of the way. All right, you can see there, it's pushed completely along that top edge. It's connected on this edge. It's pushed back there to the USB thing. Again, we've got just a little bit of room at the top for these cables. And yeah, that's that. So that's able to be plugged in. This is able to be run. Not sure exactly where I'm going to run this, but I don't know if I'm going to come out the side here or not, but I'll figure that out once we get back into the car. For now, it's just going to hang out in here. And then our USB cable for the P3 is going to go in through the back and then out the front, and then we'll plug it in to that. So that's set up and now ready to go back into the car. I'm just going to stick this guy right through here. And it comes out the front right here. Just shoved it through that little section right there. And then I'll bring the USB cables back through that. I just use the grabber tool to bring them through. This one's going to go up and route this way to connect to my P3. This one's going to route down and come back to plug into my cigarette lighter adapter. So yeah, that's how that works. Pretty easy, I think. All right. Pull that back. Pull my wires. Make sure I don't pull them too tight. Actually, where's my P3? Shove that back in the back here. Grab hold of it. I do not want to pull it all the way through. Basically, I'm just taking up the slack. And then there's a little thing that this is going to push back into. All right, I feel like that's locked into place. This is going to come out somewhere. I do think I want that to come out the top. Maybe not. And so instead of pushing it through this little hole here, you want to make sure it's out of the hole. And that way it can bend like that. And then that's going to go back there. And it's going to set in place just like that. Lighting in here is not great. I apologize. And then to take it out, you push on the glass side, and then you can grab it and pull it out. So the other thing I need to do is rotate the buttons on this, which I will show you that process when that time comes. But for now, set that right in there, and that's where it's going to live. Plug in my CarPlay, and this is for my phone charger. All right, now I need to get this back on, which should be pretty easy. Yep, just basically clips back in. So that's my charger. I'll decide if I'm happy with that or if I wanted to move it to the top side. And then slip this through the top. All right. So now I've got that figured out. Plug back in my USB cable and make sure everything looks good. It does. This can go back into place. Okay, that can go there like that. That can still close. I know you can't probably see because of that shifter. So my charging cable comes out there. And yeah, I like that. All right, so everything's all put away. My phone charger just barely has enough room. I could get a little extension for this USB-C, but it fits. Comes out here. Airlift. That closes up nicely. My wireless CarPlay adapter is plugged into the USB. Everything is tucked back and put away nicely. So yeah, Airlift comes on. And the only thing I need to do now is switch this. So let's do that. All right, so this is quite simple. We're just going to remove these two screws here in the back. All right, so once the screws are out, we're just going to basically hammer it into our hand lightly and then reconfigure. And that's going to go there, just like that. And now rescrew this back in. Okay. And now we are configured for the way it's going to be in the car. So now I will reconnect this back into the back of the controller and set it right into place there. Now we have one other thing to do, and that is update the firmware so that we can tell it where the display is. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the ignition. All right, and after we updated the firmware, you can now see that the display is pointed in the correct orientation, and that is its new little home. So, pretty cool. Anyway, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.